The International Criminal Court, ICC, issued an arrest warrant on Friday against Russian President Vladimir Putin, accusing him of the war crime of illegally deporting hundreds of children from Ukraine. The bold legal move will obligate the court's 123-member states to arrest Putin and transfer him to The Hague for trial if he sets foot on their territory.
Of Russian soldiers searching a place of sanctuary in Ukraine, looking for children. This was one orphanage in Kherson where orphans were abducted at gunpoint by the Russian military. These children, among thousands across Ukraine, said to have been taken by the Russians during this war. Allegations now the focus of International Criminal Court arrest warrants that go to the very top of the Russian government.
The International Criminal Court has issued 2 warrants of arrest in the Ukraine situation. For Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, and for Maria Lvova-Belova, Commissioner of the Russian President for Children's Rights, for the alleged war crimes of deportation of children from Ukrainian-occupied territories into the Russian Federation. It is forbidden by international law for occupied powers to transfer civilians from the territory they live in to other territories.
Because this man is now, as many would say he should have been said to be from a couple of weeks after the war started, labeled as a criminal. And that's going to make it much, much more difficult for the coalition of countries supporting Ukraine to separate out and to say, oh, we shouldn't be carrying on with this war.
Next week, China's President Xi Jinping flies to Moscow for talks with Vladimir Putin. His host will be an alleged war criminal. How might that influence his next move? The answer to that could be crucial in the next stage of this war.
Tried for the alleged war crimes of deportation of children from Ukrainian-occupied territories into the Russian Federation. It is forbidden by international law for occupied powers to transfer civilians from the territory they live in to other territories.
This was Vladimir Putin meeting his Children's Rights Commissioner last month. The arrest warrants against both are being welcomed by Ukraine's President Zelensky.
Separating children from their families, depriving them of any opportunity to contact their relatives, hiding children on the territory of Russia, throwing them in remote regions, all this is an obvious state policy of Russia, state decisions and state evil, which begins precisely with the top official of this state.
The warrants mean Vladimir Putin must think very carefully about where he travels and make the Russian leader even more of an international pariah. The Kremlin and its mouthpieces have reacted with fury.
My reaction is that, first of all, is the stupidity and irresponsibility of the International Criminal Court. It's the policy of the Russian government to save children, not to steal children, but to save children from the front line zone.
So, what are the chances of Vladimir Putin going from wartime leader to the accused in an international court of law?
We have to be very realistic that we're not going to see Putin in The Hague anytime soon. And of course, there'll be a lot of cynicism as to whether we will ever see him there. Of course,
the bold legal move will obligate the court's 123-member states to arrest Putin and transfer him to The Hague for trial if he sets foot on their territory. Moscow has repeatedly denied accusations that its forces have committed atrocities during its one-year invasion of its neighbor, and the Kremlin branded the court decision as null and void. Neither Russia nor Ukraine are members of the ICC, although Kiev granted it jurisdiction to prosecute crimes committed on its territory. The tribunal has no police force of its own and relies on member states to make arrests,
which begins precisely with the top official of this state.
The warrants. This was Vladimir Putin meeting his Children's Rights Commissioner last month.
Asked if Putin now
the arrest
feared
warrants
traveling to
against both are
countries
being
that
welcomed by
recognize the
Ukraine's
ICC,
President Zelensky.
Peskov said, "I have nothing to add on this subject.
Separating children
That's
from
all
their
we want to
families,
say."
depriving them of any opportunity